Woburn Park walked into the medical bay of Galactic Station Kepler-7 like he had done this 100 times before. His cargo hauler needed new permits, and that meant he needed a clean medical scan. Simple routine stuff that every spacer had to deal with. The medical bay was huge and white, filled with machines that hummed softly. Different species sat in waiting areas, some with blue skin, others with extra arms, and a few that looked like walking trees. Woburn was one of only 3 humans in the room. "Next," called a voice from behind the counter. A woman with pale skin and silver eyes looked at him. She was Dr. Minji, part human and part something else. Her badge said Chief Medical Officer. "Just need the standard scan for transport permits," Woburn said, handing over his identification card. Dr. Minji looked at the card and then at him. "Cargo hauler, right? This should be quick. Follow me." They walked to a small room with a large white machine in the center. The machine looked like a metal donut standing upright. Cables and lights covered its surface. "This is our medical scanner," Dr. Minji said. "It can check every part of your body in less than a minute. Just stand in the center and stay still." Woburn nodded and stepped into the machine. He had been scanned by alien tech before. It was always the same. Bright lights, some buzzing sounds, and then a clean report. "Scanner, begin standard medical evaluation," Dr. Minji said to the machine. A friendly computer voice answered. "Beginning scan of human male, age 32. Designation Woburn Park." Blue light filled the room. The scanner hummed as it worked. Woburn stood still and waited. This was the boring part. Then the humming stopped. The scanner made a sound like a cough, then another sound like it was choking. The computer voice said. "Dr. Minji, could you please look at these readings?" Dr. Minji frowned and walked to the control panel. Her silver eyes went wide as she looked at the screen. "That cannot be right," she said. "Scanner, run the evaluation again." "I have run it 3 times, the scanner said. Its voice sounded confused. "The readings are consistent." Suddenly, red lights began flashing all over the room. An alarm started beeping loudly. "Warning," the scanner announced. "Patient shows signs of extreme trauma. Medical emergency protocols activated." Dr. Minji ran to Woburn, who was still standing calmly in the scanner. "Are you in pain? Do you feel sick?" "I feel fine," Woburn said. "What is the problem?" The scanner spoke again, and now its voice sounded almost scared. "Dr. Minji, I must ask the patient a question. Sir, have you ever fought against a god?" The room went completely quiet. Dr. Minji stared at the machine. Woburn raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" Dr. Minji said. "The scan shows scarring patterns consistent with deity-class combat," the scanner explained. "The patient has wounds that could only come from weapons that should not exist." Dr. Minji looked at Woburn. He was wearing a simple gray shirt and pants. He looked completely normal except for a few small scars on his hands and neck. "Scanner, explain what you found," she said. "The patient has over 200 scars on his body," the scanner said. "These scars show healing from energy weapons, impacts from unknown materials, and damage from forces that exceed our understanding of physics." 200 scars? Dr. Minji said. "But I can only see a few. Most are hidden under clothing," the scanner said. "Dr. Minji, some of these wounds should have been fatal. The scarring on his chest shows he survived having his heart vaporized. The marks on his spine indicate he was hit by a gravitational wave strong enough to crush a small moon." Woburn scratched his head. "Your machine seems broken." "The scanner is working perfectly," Dr. Minji said. She was looking at him like he was a puzzle she needed to solve. "Sir, I need to ask you to remove your shirt." "Is that really necessary?" Woburn asked. "Yes." Woburn sighed and pulled off his shirt. Dr. Minji gasped. His chest and back were covered in scars. Some looked like burns from laser weapons. Others looked like claw marks from giant animals. There were circular marks that looked like bullet holes, and long lines that could have come from swords. But the strangest scars glowed faintly with different colors, blue, green, and silver. "How are you alive?" Dr. Minji whispered. "I heal fast," Woburn said, putting his shirt back on. The door to the medical bay opened and a man rushed in. He was also human, with worried eyes and messy hair. "Woburn, what is taking so long?" the man said. "We need to leave soon." "Just a medical scan, Jihan," Woburn said. "Nothing serious." Jihan Ko looked around the room at the flashing lights and then at Dr. Minji's shocked face. "What did you do?" Jihan asked. "The scanner is asking if I fought any gods lately," Woburn said calmly. Jihan went very still. Oh no, what? Dr. Minji asked. Before anyone could answer, more alarms started going off throughout the station. A voice spoke over the intercom system. All medical staff report to Station Command immediately. We have a Code 7 situation in Medical Bay 3. Dr. Minji had never heard of a Code 7 before. Scanner, she said. What is a Code 7? Code 7 indicates the presence of an individual with combat experience against cosmic-level threats, the scanner replied. This code was created after the war records from the Void campaign were declassified. What Void campaign? Dr. Minji asked. Wubin and Jihan looked at each other. Jihan shook his head slowly. We should go, Wubin said. You are not going anywhere, Dr. Minji said firmly. I need answers. How did you get those scars? What is the Void campaign? And why does our most advanced medical scanner think you fought gods? Wubin sat down in a chair and rubbed his face with his hands. This always happens, he said quietly. We try to keep it simple, but the machines are too smart now. Keep what simple? Dr. Minji asked. More people were running past the medical bay. Through the window, they could see security officers and what looked like diplomats hurrying toward the command center. The scanner spoke one more time. Dr. Minji, station security is requesting that the patient be held for questioning. They are very interested in how a simple cargo hauler survived combat with deity-class entities. Wubin looked at Jihan. Call the others. Tell them we might need backup. Others? Dr. Minji said. How many of you are there? Wubin stood up and looked out the window at the busy station. Enough, he said simply. Within an hour, Medical Bay 3 had become the center of attention. On Galactic Station Kepler 7, security. Officers stood guard outside while important-looking. People in fancy uniforms walked back and forth in the hallway. Wubin sat quietly in the medical chair while Dr. Minji ran more tests. Each scan gave her more questions than answers. Jihan paced near the window, checking his communication device every few minutes. The cellular regeneration is impossible, Dr. Minji said, looking at her screens. Your body has regrown organs that were completely destroyed. This scar here shows your left lung was turned to ash, but it grew back perfectly. Humans heal, Wubin said simply. Not like this, Dr. Minji replied. This kind of healing would require technology we do not have. The door opened and 3 people walked in. The first was a tall man with blue skin and gold eyes wearing an expensive diplomatic uniform. Behind him came a woman with short hair and the confident walk of a soldier. The third person stayed near the door, watching everything carefully. I am Ambassador Taehyun, the blue-skinned man said. I represent the Galactic Council in this sector. We need to talk. Wubin looked up from the medical chair. About what? About why our medical systems think you are a weapon of mass destruction, Ambassador Taehyun said. The woman stepped forward. I am Commander Soha, Station Security. The scanner readings show you have survived attacks that destroyed entire planets. We need to know if you are a threat to this station. I am a cargo hauler, Wubin said. I deliver supplies from one place to another. That is all. Cargo haulers do not have scars from god weapons, Ambassador Taehyun said firmly. These medical readings show exposure to energy types that only exist in theoretical physics. Some of these wounds came from materials that exist outside normal space. Dr. Minji pulled up a scan on the main screen. Look at this, she said. This scar on his shoulder shows impact from something moving faster than light. That is impossible. Unless you fought something that exists partially outside of time, Commander Soha said quietly. Everyone looked at her. She was studying a data pad with a serious expression. Commander? Ambassador Taehyun asked. I have been reading the classified files, Commander Soha said. There are reports from deep space monitoring stations. Strange energy readings, ships that disappear without any explanation, and old stories about things that live in the empty spaces between stars. The person by the door finally spoke. Those are just stories, are they, Kyung-ho? Commander Soha asked, looking at him. Because this man's scars match descriptions from those old reports perfectly. Kyung-ho stepped into the light. He was human with tired eyes and several small scars on his face. He had been watching Wubin very carefully since entering the room. I think you know more than you are saying, Kyung-ho said to Wubin. I think you all need to calm down, Jihan said from the window. My friend came here for a simple medical scan. Now you're talking about gods and space monsters. Your friend's body tells a different story, Dr. Minji said. These scars are not from normal combat. Look at this pattern here. She pointed to marks on Wubin's arm. These burns came from plasma heated to temperatures found inside stars. And this one, she continued, pointing to his back, shows he was hit by something that bent space around itself. The gravity waves from the impact should have turned him into a thin paste. Ambassador Taehyun walked closer to Wubin. The Galactic Council has been wondering why human ships are found in the strangest places. Always alone, always carrying cargo that does not match their manifest records. We deliver what needs to be delivered, Wubin said. To places that do not exist on any star charts, Commander Soha added. Human cargo ships have been spotted near black holes, in empty space between galaxies, and once inside a nebula that disappeared the next day. Jihan's communication device beeped. He looked at it and his face went pale. Wubin, he said quietly, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Wubin asked. The kind where more of our people are coming here, Jihan said, and they are not coming alone. Through the window they could see new ships docking with the station. The ships looked like normal cargo haulers, but Dr. Minji noticed something odd about them. Scanner, she said. Analyze those ships outside. Scanning, the medical scanner replied. Warning, the ships are carrying materials that do not appear in our databases. Energy readings suggest the presence of weapons using unknown physics. Ambassador Taehyun turned to look out the window. How many ships? 6 so far, Jihan said. But more are coming. Commander Soha spoke into her communication device. All security teams to Docking Bay 7. We have unknown ships with unknown weapons. They are not unknown, Kyung-ho said quietly. I have seen ships like those before. Where? Ambassador Taehyun demanded. In places where normal ships cannot go, Kyung-ho answered. In places where the space itself is wrong. The medical scanner spoke up again. Dr. Minji, I am detecting more humans on the station. They all show similar scarring patterns to the patient. How many? She asked. 15 so far. And the number is growing. Wubin finally stood up from the medical chair. You wanted answers, he said to Ambassador Taehyun. But you are not ready for the truth. Try us, Commander Soha said. Some cargo is more important than others, Wubin said simply. Some places need deliveries even when they are dangerous. And sometimes the things that live in dangerous places do not want humans there. So you fight them, Dr. Minji said, understanding. We do what we have to do, Wubin replied. Jihan's device beeped again. This time his face went from pale to worried. What now? Wubin asked. Message from the fleet, Jihan said. They are asking if we need support. What fleet? Ambassador Taehyun asked sharply. Wubin looked at him calmly. The cargo fleet. We have a schedule to keep. Commander Soha checked her security monitors. I count 23 ships now. All human. All carrying unknown weapons. And they are all here because of one medical scan? Ambassador Taehyun asked. No, said a new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see a woman walking into the room. She was human, with long dark hair and scars similar to Wubin's. But her scars were different. They seemed to move slightly in the light, forming patterns that hurt to look at directly. Hello, brother, she said to Wubin. Wubin smiled for the first time since the scan began. Hello, Yuna. Dr. Minji stared at the new woman. Her medical scanner was making worried noises again. Scanner, Dr. Minji said. Analyze the new arrival. I would rather not, the scanner replied, which was something it had never said before. Why not? Dr. Minji asked. Because some things should not be scanned, the scanner said quietly. Some scars contain more than just healed wounds. Yuna looked around the room at all the worried faces. We are here, she said, because something very old and very dangerous is waking up. And when it does, someone needs to be ready to fight it. The lights in the medical bay flickered and everyone could feel something change in the air around them. The medical bay felt different now that Yuna had arrived. The air seemed thicker, and the lights kept flickering. Dr. Minji noticed that her medical equipment was giving strange readings, even when not scanning anyone. Your sister is causing my machines to malfunction, Dr. Minji said to Wubin. Yuna smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Sorry about that. Sometimes I forget to keep them quiet. Keep what quiet? Ambassador Taehyun asked. Before Yuna could answer, the station's communication system crackled to life. Attention all station personnel, a voice announced. We have an incoming ship requesting emergency docking. The ship identifies itself as carrying a council elder. Commander Soha checked her security screens. That ship is not on any schedule. It came from deep space. Through the window they could see a very old ship approaching the station. It was black and covered with symbols that seemed to move when no one was looking directly at them. I know that ship, Kyung-ho said quietly. That is Keeper Da-hyun's vessel. Who is Keeper Da-hyun? Dr. Minji asked. One of the oldest beings in known space, Ambassador Taehyun said. She keeps records of things that happened before most civilizations existed. The old ship docked with the station. Within minutes, they could hear footsteps in the hallway outside. The footsteps sounded different, heavier, as if each step carried the weight of centuries. The door opened and an ancient figure walked in. Keeper Da-hyun looked like she was made of starlight and shadows. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to shimmer. Her eyes were completely black, like looking into deep space. I felt the disturbance from 3 systems away, Keeper Da-hyun said. Her voice sounded like wind through old trees. The scars are singing again. She looked directly at Woo-bin and Yuna. How many of you are here? 30 ships so far, Jihan answered. More are coming, Keeper Da-hyun nodded slowly. Show me the scars. Woo-bin rolled up his sleeves, revealing more of the strange markings on his arms. But when Keeper Da-hyun looked at Yuna, her ancient face showed something that might have been fear. Child, she said to Yuna, what did you fight to earn those marks? Yuna touched a scar on her neck. The scar was shaped like writing in a language that hurt to read. Something that called itself the Herald of Unmaking, Yuna said simply. Keeper Da-hyun stepped back. That is impossible. The heralds were destroyed in the time of burning stars. What is the time of burning stars? Dr. Minji asked. A war that happened before your species learned to make fire, Keeper Da-hyun said. A war between beings that could unmake reality itself. We thought all the god entities were gone. Most of them are, Woo-bin said. We made sure of that. We? Ambassador Taehyun asked. Before anyone could answer, more people entered the medical bay. 2 more humans walked in, both carrying the same calm confidence as Woo-bin. One was a man with silver hair and scars that glowed faintly blue. The other was a younger man who moved like a trained fighter. Minho, Woo-bin said, nodding to the silver-haired man. Any word from the outer patrols? 3 more entities detected near the galaxy edge, Minho replied. All moving inward. Dr. Minji was watching her scanner readings. Every time a new human entered the room, the machine detected energy patterns that should not exist. Scanner, she said. What are these energy readings? The readings indicate the presence of materials from outside normal space-time, the scanner replied. Also, several of the humans appear to be carrying weapons that use physics I do not understand. Commander Soha moved her hand toward her weapon. What kind of weapons? The younger human, who had not spoken yet, smiled. The kind that work on things that bullets cannot touch. Keeper Da-hyun was studying the scars on all the humans very carefully. She seemed to be reading them like a book. These marks tell a story, she said. A story of a war that most of the galaxy never knew happened. You have been fighting the god entities for 3 generations. Someone had to, Yuna said. When we first left Earth, we did not know about them. We just started exploring space like any young species would. But you found them, Keeper Da-hyun said. They found us, Minho corrected. And when they did, they expected us to run away screaming like everyone else does. But humans do not run, Woo-bin added. Ambassador Taehyun was starting to understand. You have been fighting beings that can destroy star systems alone. Not alone, the younger human said. We learned from each fight. We got better weapons. We started hunting them instead of just defending. Dr. Minji looked at the scars again with new understanding. Each scar represents a battle against something that other species consider mythical. Not mythical, Keeper Da-hyun said. Just too dangerous to fight. Most civilizations develop technology to detect god entities from far away. Then they flee to safer parts of the galaxy. That is a very reasonable response, Yuna said. Running away from things that can erase you from existence is smart. But humans are not always smart, Woo-bin added with a slight smile. Jihan's communication device beeped again. This time he looked even more worried than before. What is it now? Minho asked. Message from Earth Command, Jihan said. They are ordering all units to prepare for full mobilization. Mobilization for what? Commander Soa asked. The big one is waking up, Yuna said quietly. The room went completely silent. Even Keeper Da-hyun looked scared. What is the big one? Dr. Minji asked, though she was not sure she wanted to know. Something that 8 universes before this one existed, Keeper Da-hyun whispered. We call it the Devourer. It has been sleeping between the galaxies for millions of years. And now it is waking up, Woo-bin said. Ambassador Tae-hyun sat down heavily in a chair. How do you fight something like that? Very carefully, Minho said. And with lots of backup. Through the window they could see more ships arriving. Not just human ships now, but vessels from dozens of different species. All of them were heading for the docking bays. Word is spreading, Commander Soha observed. Good, Yuna said. We will need everyone. Dr. Minji was still trying to process everything she had learned. So the freight business is just a cover. You are actually soldiers. We are whatever we need to be, Woo-bin said. Sometimes we haul cargo. Sometimes we hunt gods. Today it looks like we might need to kill something that thinks galaxies are snacks. Keeper Da-hyun walked to the window and looked out at all the ships. I have lived for over 50,000 years, she said. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have watched stars be born and die, but I have never seen anything like this. Like what? Ambassador Tae-hyun asked. Like a species that looks at the impossible and says, let us try anyway. Keeper Da-hyun replied. She turned back to look at the humans in the room. The scars you carry are not just wounds, she said. They are proof that some battles can be won even against gods. And right now, that proof might be the only hope the galaxy has. Outside, more ships continued to arrive, and deep space monitoring stations began to detect something huge moving in the darkness between stars. The command center of Galactic Station Kepler-7 had never seen so many different species in one room. Representatives from dozens of civilizations sat around a massive holographic display showing the galaxy. At the center of it all, Woo-bin stood calmly while everyone stared at him. Tell them everything, Ambassador Tae-hyun said. No more secrets. Woo-bin looked around the room at all the worried faces. Aliens who had never worked together were now sitting side by side, all waiting to hear what he had to say. Where do I start? Woo-bin asked. Start with first contact, Keeper Da-hyun suggested. Woo-bin nodded and activated the holographic display. An image of Earth appeared, small and blue in the darkness of space. When humans first developed faster-than-light travel, we were excited, Woo-bin began. We thought we would find new worlds, new friends, maybe some trade partners. We did not expect to find a war zone. The display changed to show deep space. Strange shapes moved between the stars, things that hurt to look at directly. Our first colony ship disappeared, Woo-bin continued. Then our second. By the time our third ship went missing, we knew something was hunting us. Dr. Minji leaned forward. What happened to the ships? They found something that most species learn to avoid, Yuna said, joining her brother at the display. Entities that exist partially outside normal reality. Beings that can change the laws of physics around them. Minho stood up and added, most civilizations call them gods because they cannot be fought with normal weapons. When these entities appear, the smart thing to do is run. But humans did not run, Keeper Da-hyun said. We tried running at first, Woo-bin admitted, but these things followed us. They seemed to enjoy hunting us, and humans do not like being hunted. The display showed images of human ships, but they looked different from normal cargo haulers. These ships had weapons that seemed to bend light around them. The first god entity we killed was called the Weeping Star, Woo-bin said. It had destroyed 3 of our colonies and was heading for Earth. Our fleet attacked it with nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons cannot hurt a god entity. Ambassador Tae-hyun said, You are right, Woo-bin agreed. But when we detonated enough nuclear weapons inside its physical form, something interesting happened. Parts of the entity became solid matter that we could actually touch. Dr. Minji was taking notes furiously. You killed it by forcing it to become physical? Eventually, Yuna said. It took 6 months and cost us 40 ships. But we learned something important. These entities can be hurt if you understand how they work. The display showed more images. Weapons that looked like they were made from starlight. Ships with hulls that seemed to exist in several dimensions at once. Every entity we fought taught us something new, Minho explained. The Silence Walker taught us how to build weapons that work in places where sound cannot exist. The time render showed us how to make armor that protects against attacks that happen before they are made. Commander Soha stood up. Are you saying that humans have been building weapons from dead gods? Not just weapons, Wubin said. Everything. Our ships, our tools, even our medical technology. When you kill something that exists outside normal physics, you learn things that normal science cannot teach you. Dr. Minji suddenly understood something. That is why you heal so well. Your medical technology comes from entities that could reshape reality. Every human who fights the god entities gets enhanced, Yuna explained. Better healing, faster reflexes, the ability to think in ways that do not follow normal logic. We need these improvements to survive. Keeper Dahyun was studying the humans with new interest. How many of these entities have you destroyed? Over the past 70 years? Wubin thought for a moment. About 3,000. The room went completely silent. Several alien representatives made sounds of disbelief. 3,000 god entities, Ambassador Taehyun repeated slowly. That is just the ones we have killed completely, Minho added. We have wounded or driven away many more. And all this time you pretended to be cargo haulers, Commander Soha said. We are cargo haulers, Jihan said from where he sat near the back. We just haul very special cargo to very dangerous places. The display changed again to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots appeared in many locations, showing where battles had been fought. Every red dot is a place where we stopped a god entity from reaching populated systems, Wubin explained. We try to fight them in empty space, away from civilians. Dr. Minji counted the dots. There were hundreds of them. You have been protecting the entire galaxy, she said in amazement. Someone had to, Yuna said simply. These entities do not just hunt humans. They consume everything, entire civilizations, stars, sometimes whole sectors of space. Why did you not tell anyone? Ambassador Taehyun asked. Would you have believed us? Wubin asked back. Would any of your governments have wanted to admit that their entire civilization was being protected by a species they considered primitive? Keeper Dahyun nodded slowly. Pride is a powerful thing. Most species would rather not know they needed protection. Also, Minho added, some of these entities can sense when large numbers of people know about them. The more attention they get, the stronger they become. Commander Soha was looking at her security reports. How many humans are actually involved in this? About 2 million active fighters, Wubin said, plus support staff, research teams, and ship crews. Maybe 10 million total. Out of how many humans in the galaxy? About 50 billion. Ambassador Taehyun did the math in his head. Less than 1% of your species knows the truth. The others live normal lives, Yuna said. They have families, jobs, peaceful homes. That is what we fight to protect. The display showed one final image, a massive shape moving through the darkness between galaxies. It was bigger than anything anyone in the room had ever seen. And now the Devourer is waking up, Wubin said quietly. How do you fight something that big? Dr. Minji asked. We are about to find out, Minho said. Jihan's communication device beeped with an urgent message. He read it and his face went pale. What is it? Wubin asked. Fleet Admiral Donghyun is here, Jihan said. He is requesting permission to bring the main battle fleet to this station. How big is the main battle fleet? Commander Soha asked. About 5,000 ships, Wubin said. 5,000 ships with god-killing weapons, Yuna added. Ambassador Taehyun looked around the room at all the alien representatives. I think we need to vote on whether to allow this. With respect, Keeper Dahyun said, I do not think you understand the situation. The Devourer consumed 17 universes before this one existed. If these humans want to fight it, we should give them whatever help they need. What kind of help? Commander Soha asked. Everything, Wubin said simply. Every ship, every weapon, every person willing to fight. Because if we lose this battle, there will not be a galaxy left to worry about. Through the station's windows, they could see human ships arriving in greater numbers. Each ship looked normal from the outside, but now everyone knew what they really carried. Weapons forged from the remains of dead gods, crewed by humans who had learned to fight the impossible. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. Fleet Admiral Donghyun arrived on Galactic Station Kepler 7 without any ceremony. He walked through the corridors like any other spacer, wearing simple clothes and carrying a small bag. The only thing that marked him as different was the pattern of scars on his hands, and scars that seemed to move and shift when no one was looking directly at them. Wubin met him at the docking bay along with Yuna and Minho. Behind them walked a young woman who could not have been older than 20. She had bright eyes and 3 small scars on her left arm that glowed faintly silver. "Admiral," Wubin said, nodding respectfully. "Just Dongyun today," the Admiral replied. "We are all equals when the galaxy is ending." He looked around at the massive station now filled with ships from dozens of different species. "How many allies do we have?" "More than I expected," Yuna said. "The Galactic Council voted to support us. Every major civilization is sending ships, even the ones who used to pretend we did not exist," Dongyun asked with a small smile. "Especially those ones," Minho said. "Fear makes people honest very quickly." The young woman stepped forward. "Admiral, the monitoring stations are reporting new activity. The Devourer is moving faster than we predicted." Dongyun nodded to her. "Everyone, this is Hieron. She is our newest Godslayer. Got her first scars just 2 weeks ago." Dr. Minji, who had been listening nearby, looked at Hieron with fascination. "Your scars are different from the others." "I fought something called a reality eater," Hieron said simply. "It was trying to unmake a star system by convincing the universe that the system had never existed." "How do you fight something like that?" Dr. Minji asked. "By being very stubborn about what is real," Hieron replied with a grin. They walked together toward the command center, where Ambassador Taehyun and Commander Soha were coordinating with fleet commanders from across the galaxy. The holographic display now showed the entire galactic arm, with thousands of ships moving into position. "Status report," Donghyun said as they entered. "We have gathered the largest fleet in galactic history," Ambassador Taehyun said. 12,000 ships from 47 different species. "What about the human fleet?" Donghyun asked. 5,000 ships and growing, Commander Soha replied. "Your people are arriving from all over the galaxy. Some are coming from places we did not even know existed." Donghyun studied the display. "Show me the Devourer." The image changed to show the space between galaxies. At first it looked empty, then the sensors adjusted and something became visible. A shape so large that it made entire star systems look like dust particles. "It is bigger than our worst estimates," Keeper Dahyun said quietly. She had been studying ancient records for hours. The old texts describe it as having the mass of 1,000,000 stars, but that was before it fed on 17 universes. "How long until it reaches our galaxy?" Donghyun asked. 3 days, Hieron said, checking her instruments. "Maybe less if it decides to move faster." Dr. Minji was still trying to understand the scale of what they were facing. "How do you kill something that big?" "You do not kill it all at once," Donghyun explained. "The Devourer is not just one creature. It is made up of billions of smaller entities all connected together. We cut it apart piece by piece. Like fighting a swarm," Minho added. "A swarm where each individual piece can destroy a planet," Yuna said. Jihan, who had been quiet for most of the conversation, finally spoke up. "Are we sure this will work? Everything we have fought before was smaller than this." Dongyun looked at him seriously. "No, we are not sure. But we are sure what happens if we do not try." The display showed simulation after simulation of different battle plans. Each one ended with massive casualties and uncertain outcomes. "There is something else," Keeper Dahyun said. "The ancient records mention that the Devourer learns from everything it consumes. It will know how to fight us. Then we will have to teach it something new," Dongyun said. A communication alert sounded throughout the station. The voice that came through the speakers belonged to a human ship captain. "All vessels, this is Captain J1 of the cargo ship, Peaceful Journey. We have visual contact with Devourer advanced scouts. They are beautiful." The holographic display switched to show the captain's ship. In the distance, shapes moved through space that looked like living galaxies. Swirls of light and darkness that seemed to dance as they approached. "All ships, fall back to defensive positions," Donghyun ordered. "Do not engage the scouts. We need to see what we are dealing with." But as they watched, one of the scout entities moved toward Captain J1's ship. The ship's weapons fired, beams of light that had been forged from the heart of a dead star god. The beams hit the scout entity and it laughed. The sound came through the speakers as something between music and screaming. The entity absorbed the weapons fire and grew larger. "It is feeding on our weapons," Dr. Minji said in horror. "Of course it is," Dongyun said calmly. "It has eaten god weapons before. We will need to try something different." He activated his communication device. All ships switch to Protocol 7 weapons. Repeat, Protocol 7 only. What is Protocol 7? Ambassador Taihyun asked. Weapons made from things the Devourer has never eaten, Hyeron explained. We have been saving them for something special. On the display, the human ships began firing again. But this time the weapons looked different. Some fired beams of what looked like solid mathematics. Others shot projectiles that seemed to exist in several dimensions at once. The scout entity stopped laughing. When the new weapons hit it, pieces of the entity began to break away and disappear. It is working, Commander Soha said with excitement. For now, Donghyun said. But it is learning. Each shot will be less effective than the last. More alarms sounded as deep space sensors detected something new. The main body of the Devourer was accelerating toward the galaxy. Change of plans, Donghyun announced. It is not waiting 3 days. It will be here in 18 hours. The command center erupted in controlled chaos as officers from dozens of species began updating battle plans and moving fleets into position. Wubin walked over to Hiran, who was staring at the display with a mixture of fear and determination. Scared? He asked. Terrified, she admitted, but also excited. We get to be the first humans to fight something this big. Any advice for someone about to face their second god-level entity? She asked. Wubin looked at his scarred hands, remembering every battle that had marked him. Remember that these things exist by making us believe they are impossible to defeat, he said. But we have been proving impossible things wrong for 70 years. He looked around the command center at all the species working together, at the massive fleet gathering outside, at the young woman beside him who was ready to fight something that had destroyed universes. Besides, he added with a smile, if we lose, at least no one will be around to say we did not try hard enough. Through the station's windows, the combined fleet of 17,000 ships began moving toward the edge of the galaxy. Human cargo haulers flew alongside alien battle cruisers, their hidden weapons ready to face the darkness between stars. In the distance, something vast and hungry noticed the approaching fleet and began to wake up fully for the first time in millions of years. The final battle for everything that existed was about to begin, and somewhere in the fleet, a young woman with silver scars was asking an old warrior how humans had learned to fight gods, only to receive the answer that would define their species forever. We did not learn. We just refused to stop.